Welcome to FloridaFishyFinger, my YouTube channel where I take you on our adventures all over Florida catching fish. And in this video, I'm going to give you my 3-year review of the Ancona Shadowcast 16, which also some updates about the Ancona Shadowcast 16, one of which is it no longer exists. That's right, they phased it out. Can you believe it? Well, I can believe it. I almost got one myself. The 18 is a good thing. If I had a little bit more garage space, what I would have done is gotten one of those. So it's an excellent boat. And in fact, I've seen another couple of guys out fishing at the port that were launching an 18, and I gotta admit, it kind of is a neck snapper. Like this one. We get a lot of people looking. I'm not trying to brag. It's only a little tiny boat, but gee whiz, it's so cool. So here we go. 3-year update, Ancona Shadowcast. Let's get into it. I've officially serviced it 3 times. 3 seasons worth of use. I'll give you the good, the bad, and the ugly, but there's not much ugly. Not really. The only ugly really that I have to say, and it's not even that ugly, I still love it, is the engine was a little bit problematic, but it really wasn't the engine's fault, and it's never done anything but really run pretty much beautifully. Okay, so let's get into it. So this boat has allowed me to fish in, I mean, I don't even know how shallow. It seems ridiculous, but it seems like we've pulled it through 3 to 4 inches of water a lot, and we can get to where the fish are. They don't know we're there, and we get them. So this is like the ultimate shallow water fishing machine. You can stalk up on the fish. A lot of times big redfish will just swim right under the boat. They didn't even know you were there. It is weird. And so that increases your odds dramatically. The other thing is, it is a snagless environment. I mean, almost completely. Everything about it is made to be snagless. You can fly fish on this thing and fish without any problem. It is, you can, like we have many times, drench it in, you know, fish blood and just hose it down. You just need, all you need is a little brush. That's what I say. It's one of my mottos in life. All you need is a little brush. We have a little brush, and every time we get a little, you just brush it off and keep that with us and use a little water. Brush it off as it gets a little dirty. Nothing big deal, and you keep it super clean while you're even fishing it. But you know, it definitely is not a super stable boat, but why would you expect it to be? I mean, the thing is so incredibly narrow. That's one of the beauties of it. That's one of the reasons you can get up and go so fast. This thing feels like you're flying, even though you're only probably going top speed of about 28, probably more like 26 when you got it loaded up with stuff, but you just fly. And the fact that you steer it, you know, hold the front and steer it with the tiller, because I got it with the tiller, and that's even more simple. There's nothing here to get caught on or interfere with in terms of steering wheel or anything. And I saved about 60-70 pounds of weight by not adding that equipment, and that's a lot of weight on a boat this size. You know, it's not made for a couple of big boys to fish it, if you know what I'm saying. It's just really not. So that's not a real big deal. It definitely could fish one big guy, but it would, you know, be just a little bit more tippy. I think I'd choose a bigger boat if I were bigger, but I'm not, and this works perfectly for me. It has plenty of room. I can run right up on the bow. Now I surf also, so the tippiness doesn't bother me, but it's not like super tippy, and it runs beautifully. And here's another thing about this Shadowcast that just keeps on resonating with me, is that it is not a backbreaker. Now I have 7 herniated discs in my back, so not a good situation there. So I'm very sensitive to boats which are back-breaking boats. By that I mean a lot of the flat-hulled boats that just slam on every piece of chop. Well, this doesn't do that. It cuts right through. It just hops out. And since it's got a tunnel hull, you know, I think that contributes to the awesomeness of it significantly in its ride, which is weird. It rides better than any V-hulled boat I've ever had. It rides in the ocean better than any V-hulled boat. It rides in the ocean better than my friend's other big boats. It just fits into the waves. It's so lightweight with its composite material only weighing about 300 some odd pounds. The hull, that it just fits into the bigger surf and seems to skip across the smaller stuff. So really, really cool features about this thing I continue to enjoy. had some minor issues with one of the rod holders popping out up top. Ancona repair it, no problem. Had a couple other, like minor superficial things. They just immediately got it taken care of. So great. I did add this depth finder to it and never regretted that. Now, one thing in year 3, what's the next step for this? Well, the next step is buy another bigger Ancona probably, or an East Cape Skiff, or maybe one of the others. There's so many great skiff manufacturers in Florida. I don't know how you would choose easily. But nonetheless, a bigger skiff maybe. But if I do that, I got to get a bigger garage, a bigger motor, a bigger this, a bigger that. There's really, I don't know that I'll ever switch from this. I would just replace it with something exactly the same, because this fits my life so perfectly. It's so easy. I can get it out of the garage in about 5 minutes. I'm not even kidding. 5 minutes. Get it on the truck in about the same amount. Launch it out into at the launch ramp in maybe 10. And that right there is the best reason to get a boat like this. One of the other things is the paint jobs handling the saltiness pretty well. This one I got in a 2-tone paint color. There's no extra charge to get it, but you can see also it has a rolled gunnel, which is really kind of cool. That's why it's a very dry boat. The rolled gunnel provides an excellent, spray away effect. And so this is an incredibly dry boat to ride in. Like I said, no chop buster problems, dry, etc. But it also looks cool. So look at the center console, and that's a plumbed live well. That center console is the same color as the exterior of the hull. That's a guide green or seafoam green, depending on what you call it. The lights, running lights, are right into the rock solid. Now another thing is Tohatsu 20 horse engine, which I had little issues with, but it's, like I said, always run right. So I have another video on that if you're interested in that whole story. Garmin Striker 4 is the fish finder I put in. Got a little storage capacity down here for dry storage. This provides lots of space, but that's more of a wet spot. You can put anchors and all kinds of things in there. Now, one thing I really like is that it's got a raised area in the transom. I had boats that had the cut. You could not have a cut with this one, but the fact that helps, especially when it's wavy, and that this cap that provided on the whole boat really prevents water from going in a lot of the times. But if you're out in the ocean, these kinds of things really matter, because a lot of it will fade off the back. Here's another little things that matter. Look at this. That's the cleat, right? So when you're fishing, you put it down, and now there's no way for lines to get caught on it. Same thing here. These are all somewhat standard things, but just perfection in every way on this boat, in my opinion. The gas tank, very important. We take it out in some big ocean conditions sometimes, so it's important to be able to take a wave over the bow and be all good with a nice sealed-in gas tank. Pole. Well, one of the things on getting a poling skiff is to get used to that pole slapping the front. As you run, you can get this kind of thing. It's done that, no problem. Eventually, all poling skiffs do that, even big ones. But I guess you could put a pad there or whatever, but it has zero effect on this hull. Zero effect. This thing is super solid. Now, there are a couple things I want to do to it moving forward, just because we use it in such an unconventional way. Oh, one other thing before I show you that is this live well, capable of keeping 20 greenies alive, no problem. I mean, it just is smaller ones, but still, yeah, it's just the gem. So you got live bait capability, whatever. We got the cast nets, so we're always pulling up on the bait, slaying them, stocking up and going, and they're live and fresh. Very well done. You can sit on this and run. We've actually kind of overloaded it a bit sometimes on little island missions, but you put 2 up front here, 1 here, and 2 back there. That's a lot, but it can take it. That's a lot of weight on this. Remember I said about the big boys? Well, you can load it up with a lot of weight, and we sure do sometimes if we're just going out to the sandbar, unload the people on the island, and then we're kind of taking out smaller missions to go scurf or whatever. It'll pull a scurfer. It'll pull a little tube behind it, no problem. I mean, what an incredibly versatile little thing. This thing cost me less than $15,000, and I got all the best stuff that I wanted, exactly how I wanted it. It's exactly what I wanted. The only thing that I really need to upgrade is, and this I might refortify some other things. I'm going to refortify the pole holders, so that but this thing, the water filter, is excellent. It just needs to be secured up in there a little bit more tight. Those screws tend to back off when I take it on 30-mile offshore missions. So I want that not to happen. I would like my ability to get fuel to the engine to be impacted. But let's say it did. Have you thought through every scenario on your boat? If you're taking it in places like the ocean, I try to, but I've thought through that scenario. What if it did? Well, I have pliers. I'm able to connect the fuel with the tools I have on board directly from the other side of that fuel filter to this engine. That's a nice thing to be able to do. Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing is I'm going to upgrade to a trolling motor finally. I almost feel a little sad to reveal this because it is changed to this beautiful thing. I hate to put a hole in it. It's weird. I love it that much. I'm going to put a trolling motor finally. I must do it. My son's off in college, so he's not fishing with me as much, and in order for me to do the kind of fishing I want to do, this is really a team fishing boat, in my opinion. You know, to have the trolling motor, you're unstoppable in any situation, including the ocean. With the trolling motor, that's your other guy right there. But then you got to be careful, because what if you fell off while that trolling motor was going? Well, that's why you have to think that through, and I haven't thought that through, but I will. Maybe there's some simple solution like, oh, when you fall in the water, you're just doing the thing and it does the thing, and then you don't do the thing or whatever, but I'll find it out. So that's my 3-year Ancona review. The trailer, I guess I could say, it's not, you know, these are peripheral things like the depth finder, the engine, the trailer, but it's just held up great. Now I rinse it off and it's garage kept, and it's an aluminum trailer, so I mean, it's perfect. You know, the things that you would expect to start getting a little rusty, like those, you know, the regular metal things are getting rusty, but everything else is just perfect. Not even any aluminum rust like you might expect. Yeah, just an incredible boat. Incredible boat. Oh, I got the trolling motors welded in, and I realized I needed one more, so I added this, which was, I'll put a link in the description for this as well, but it's kind of heavy actually, but it works great, and when we're offshore we put a teaser bait off of that usually, or troll 3 lines, and yeah, then you're trolling 3 lines offshore in a 16-foot micro skiff, which is a bizarre feeling, but this has worked out pretty well. It matched somewhat this. I could have had them weld on another one, but I just figured, why go through the hassle, and this one's adjustable, and you can take it off, but I've never taken it off. I probably should. So hey, thanks for watching Florida Fishy Finger. If you like these kinds of videos, go ahead and subscribe and click the notification bell so that you're notified as new videos come out. Why don't you go ahead and get some tight lines, or at least click on the links in the video.